Hey book nerds, welcome to my channel. So today I've got another book haul for you. Yep, another one. I know, I'm a little bit out of control. This one I'm going to split into fiction books and non-fiction books. The first half is going to be the fiction books, second half is going to be the non-fiction. I'll put a timestamp down below in case you just want to watch the non-fiction ones. Most of these I got second hand or on a deal from work, so while it looks like I've spent a lot, I haven't spent as much as it seems. Not that I have to justify my spending habits, but you know. So yeah, let's just start getting into them. There's quite a mix of genres with the fiction, and I haven't really sorted them out, so I'm just going to go through them. So the first one I was really happy to get, I got it second hand, and that is Unnatural Death by Dorothy L. Sayers. You might remember if you watch my channel a lot that I hold the two more of these books in the same kind of editions. I really like these editions. But I couldn't get this one by the time I decided I wanted to get them, so I'm really happy to have gotten another one in the same editions for so cheap. These are like murder mysteries, and I think this one, someone's murdered in a flat. They're quite old murder mysteries, so hopefully up my street. The next book I was definitely going to get, and that is The Girl in Red by Christina Henry. I love Christina Henry, she's one of my favourite authors. I've already read this and I did enjoy it a lot. You'll find out more about it in my July wrap up, but this isn't my favourite one of hers, but it's still like a solid 4-star, maybe 4.5-star read. I haven't quite decided yet. This is basically Little Red Riding Hood if it was set in the apocalypse. Kind of. It's not really a Little Red Riding Hood retelling. It's about a girl who just goes by the nickname of Red, and she's got an axe. It's mostly just an apocalypse book, but it's really good and it's gorgeous. I love how these books look, and I'm very happy I've got this one. The next one is one I've been looking out for a long time, and since buying it I've seen it in almost every charity shop I've been into, and that is The Deaths of December by Susi Holliday, which I assume is a pen name, either that or she just got really lucky. This is a Christmas themed murder mystery thriller book about I think a police department gets sent an advent calendar, and behind each door of the advent calendar is a different grisly crime scene. And they think it's basically this person confessing to being behind all of these crimes, and the last 4 days have got nothing behind them, which suggests there's going to be 4 more crimes. This sounds really good. Obviously not going to read it until Christmas time, but I tried to get it last Christmas and I couldn't get it in time. So hopefully this will be a nice gruesome Christmas read. The next 2 books were impulse buys from charity shops, and having looked them up, I might already own these. But these are horror high books, so that's the first one. This one's called Date with Death, and this one is Deadly Love, and it's actually a collection of 3 of them. I saw this one first and I picked it up because it's by R.L. Stine, and I love R.L. Stine's horror books. They're like the perfect level of old school horror cheese for me. And then I went to a different charity shop and I saw this one and I was like, well, might as well get it. The reason I say I might already have these is I looked them up and they might be rebranded Point Horror books, which if you know my channel you know I collect them, but I'm not 100% sure because they've got different titles and I couldn't really find anything about the horror high books online, so I guess I'll have to see. But either way, I mean, I guess if I already own them I can just donate them again. The next book looks so tiny. That is Full Tilt by Neal Shusterman. I bought this because I saw it recommended on a horror podcast. I think it was the Books in the Freezer podcast. I'm not 100% sure on that, so I will link it down below. I love horror books based around carnivals and fairgrounds and stuff. This is a book about 2 brothers who go into a haunted carnival, and to escape the carnival they have to ride 7 rides and survive them all, and each ride represents a different fear of theirs. This is such a tiny book, it's really cute. I'll probably try and read this in the summer, but then again I always say that, so we'll see. Another impulse buy next, we have The Gift of Darkness by V.M. Giambanco. This is a hefty book actually. This is a thriller, and I don't normally like chunky thrillers, so I'm not really sure what made me pick this up. But essentially it's about a family is found murdered, and then next to their bodies the words 13 days are scratched into, like the ground near their bodies, and then a detective is investigating this crime and she thinks it's linked to a crime from the past, and she has 13 days to prove it, so there's some kind of like a horrific countdown. It's got quite an interesting cover, and yeah, probably shouldn't have got this, but it did just catch my eye. The next one I was really pleased to find. I went to Edinburgh on a trip with my partner, and I bought 6 books while I was there, which was such a mistake because I had to carry them all the way back here, but like I couldn't resist. So this is the first one. This is Stephen King Firestarter. You'll notice it is in the lovely editions that I collect, which is the main reason I got it. I'm not actually sure what Firestarter's about. I think it's about... yeah, it's about a girl who has magical powers, presumably to start fires, and like the government is hunting her. It's not the Stephen King book I'm most excited to read, but I am collecting these editions and it was only £2, so I was really happy to find that. The next one was Solitaire by Alice Oseman. I picked this up because this is the only Alice Oseman book I don't own on my Kindle. I recently read Radio Silence and it's become one of my favourite books of all time. I don't think I'll like the others as much, but I wanted to just collect all of her works. And this is a really nice orange edition. It doesn't match my Radio Silence book, but orange is my favourite colour, so I wanted to get this. It's about a girl who's got a blog, and I don't really know what else it's about, but there's something to do with a vlog element, and it's a contemporary. And the other fiction book that I got from Edinburgh, and the biggest mistake, but also the one I was happiest to get, is The Favourite Sister by Jessica Knoll. So I've been after this book for ages. I thought I had it. I put it on my May TBR because I thought I'd bought the Kindle edition ages ago and I hadn't. So I went to buy it, but the Kindle edition is still pretty expensive and it's only available in hardback. So the hardback's pretty expensive. The cheapest I could find it I think was like £13. And this book has got really, really bad reviews on Goodreads, so I didn't really want to spend a lot of money on it. However, I found it in a charity shop in Edinburgh, so I was like, well, I have to buy this because I've been after it for ages. Even though it's got bad reviews, it sounds right up my street. It's about 2 sisters, it's a thriller, and they go on a reality TV show, and I don't think the producers know that they're sisters. Yeah, and basically it's about 5 super competitive women on this reality TV show stabbing each other in the back, and thrillery things happen. This is hefty. This was so heavy to carry back, and I'm hoping it will be worth it. 2 more books that I got from my trip I bought. They're brand new and I got them from this political bookshop called Lighthouse Books, which is in Edinburgh. My partner really wanted to go there. They're super into politics and they're after one book in particular that they haven't been able to get anywhere, and they didn't want to order it from Amazon. So while we were there, I talked myself out of buying about 10 books and I managed to whittle it down to 2. So the first one is Tangleweed and Brine, and this is by Deidre Sullivan. So this is absolutely gorgeous. I don't know if you can see that. It's got like really nice feeling cover. And this was a case of being in the right place at the right time, because next month for August I'm taking part in the Fairy Tale-a-thon, and Tangleweed and Brine was a book on my TBR that fulfilled quite a lot of the challenges, but I didn't own it yet. So I'm really happy to have picked this up. It's got like illustrations. It's basically retellings of fairy tales, by the way. I think they're kind of feminist, and I think they're kind of maybe more, not quite horror based, but slightly darker than like children's fairy tales. And it's got, if I can find it, there we go, there's an example. It's got some illustrations in there, which I thought was really cool, so I'm very happy to have this as a paperback. The other book I got from the same place was pretty much a mistake, I'm going to be honest, because I didn't realise I already bought it as a Kindle book. I thought I didn't own it at all, and that is A Mouthful of Birds by Samantha Schweblin. This was £13 as well, so this was not cheap, but I was kind of caught up being in the independent bookshop, and the person who runs the bookshop's really cool and I wanted to support her, so I didn't think I owned this book, I already did. However, it's still really beautiful. It's still a book I'm quite excited to read. It's another anthology. It's short feminist, horror, fantasy, magical realism type stories. I haven't heard a lot about it, but it only just came out this year, so I kind of regret buying it, but also I'm not going to beat myself up too much about it. We have 2 more impulse buys from work, and that is Grimm's Fairy Tales and Alice in Wonderland. I mainly got these because they were only £3, like full price, and I have my staff discount on top of that, and I just thought they were really nice additions, so that's the Grimm's Fairy Tale one. They're not mind-blowing editions, but they're really nice paperbacks, and I've been after a nice edition of Alice in Wonderland for ages, and I really like this one. It did come slightly crumpled, which is a shame, but I ordered it online from work, but you know, yeah. And my final fiction purchase I'm gonna get judged so hard for, and that is this Goosebumps collection. Yes, Goosebumps are intended for like 10-year-old boys. Yes, I still read them. Yes, I really enjoy them. So this is the Goosebumps Horrorland collection. This went down to £7.50, which is why I ended up buying it. And this is a series of books that R.L. Stine wrote, I think fairly recently. And they're all traditional Goosebumps villains at Horrorland. So I haven't really talked about Goosebumps a lot on this channel yet, but Horrorland is my favourite Goosebumps book from when I was a kid. It's always been my favourite one. And I'm hugely nostalgic for Goosebumps, so the idea of it being like classic monsters from the Goosebumps series in Horrorland really appeals to me. I have no idea when I'll read these. I'm hoping to do like a Goosebumps series on my channel at some point, where I go through them and I reread them, so I might start with these ones because I've never actually read these ones before, and then it'll be like a new experience for everyone. But yeah, I like Goosebumps. Okay, so now we have the non-fiction books, which anyone who's seen any of my haul videos before will not be surprised by the type of book that I have here. So the first one is Short History of the Victorian Era by Gordon Kerr. I collect non-fiction history books, assuming someday I will read them. I am very interested in history, but I just never get around to actually reading them. This looks really good. It's very broken down into chunks, which appeals to me. It seems like I can read it in short bursts. Next we have 2 books with no authors. We have Classical Mythology and Norse Mythology. These are just really pretty. They're also huge. Like, if you compare them to the size of that book, it's ridiculous. I'm very interested in mythology. I know a lot about Greek mythology from my childhood. I had a huge interest in that and I read a lot about it. But I'm less familiar with other types of mythology, and I have forgotten a lot of what I did know about Greek mythology. So I'm hoping that this will refresh my memory. I've got a couple of mythology non-fiction books, and surprise surprise, I haven't read any of them yet. But these were pretty and I couldn't resist. And now we have 2 books about serial killers. We have The 10 Worst Serial Killers by Victor McQueen and Ted Bundy by Cimino? I'm not sure how you pronounce that. I have way too many books about serial killers, to be honest, but I do have a strong interest in psychology, so we can pretend that it's not creepy at all. Next book I absolutely had to buy because I got it from Poundland. Who knew Poundland did books? And that is The Element in the Room, and this is by Helen Arney and Steve Mould. I think the names are actually, oh yeah, the names are on the front. This is basically, I don't even know what this is. This is a science book about, it's about everyday science, so it's about the science that you encounter in your life, and kind of, it's like a pop science book. This was literally £1 and I had to pick it up because I love science, and this looks really interesting. It doesn't actually look like it'll take that long to read. It's got quite a lot of pictures and interesting layouts and stuff. The next book was my final purchase from Edinburgh. You might notice that it is in fact quite big, although it is not a hardback, thankfully, and that is I'll Be Gone in the Dark by Michelle McNamara. I've not seen the UK edition of this before and I really like it. Again, it's got orange, which is awesome. This is a non-fiction book about a serial killer of some description, shockingly, serial killer book again. But this was published last year and it had a lot of buzz. And it was one of those books I added to my TBR and I kind of never managed to pick up. So when I saw it in a charity shop and it's in really good condition, I was super happy to get it. Again, not sure when I'll read it, but at least I own it now. Next book is a little bit weirder and I kind of got it because I was reading it while I was at work. And don't get me wrong, my job is tough. I don't get a lot of time to read. I'm usually being told to do things that are physically exhausting. But this book was right by the till and it kind of caught my eye. And on those days where I don't have many customers and I haven't been given something else to do, I found myself reading this. And that is Oops! And it says that it is solutions for everyday kitchen mistakes. It's kind of not. It doesn't tell you what to do once you've made the mistakes, it tells you how to not make the mistakes in the first place, which isn't necessarily the most helpful thing. But I just thought it was quite interesting. Like, here's an example. It has the mistake at the top and it tells you why it's a mistake and then it tells you what you should do instead. I enjoy cooking quite a lot and I'll soon be moving back into my own living space, so I'll be entirely in charge of my own cooking again. And yeah, I just read about 25% of this while I was at work and I thought I might as well just buy it because I'm really enjoying it so far. So it's a little bit unusual, but it's my kind of book. The next book was entirely just bought out of morbid curiosity, and that is Hunting Monsters by Darren Naish. This again I got from work, but I bought it online. We didn't get this one into my store. It's actually surprisingly heavy because it's got like that weird photo cover thing going on. But this is supposedly the reality behind mythological monsters. I don't believe in any mythological monsters, but I kind of like reading about people who do, and not in a way that I'm like making fun of them, just out of curiosity. It's like conspiracy theorists, you know, I enjoy reading about that kind of thing even though I don't believe in any of them myself. So yeah, I bought this and then my mum said that she apparently already owns this and she bought it years ago and she just doesn't know where it is, so it might have been a wasted purchase, but at least I have my own copy now. Final book is The TV Geek by Simon Brew. I bought this because I bought The Movie Geek from work ages ago and I've kind of flipped through it. I'm not going to pretend I've read it yet because of course I haven't, it's a non-fiction book. But this is really good. These are like basically if blog posts were in a book format, and I think they are adapted from content from this website, Den of Geek. But I got the movie one and I kind of flicked through it occasionally and I've really enjoyed it, and I've been after the TV one for a while, but I was hoping we'd get it into work and we did, so I saved myself about 12 quid or something getting it from there. I flicked through this a little bit. It's got some good stuff about Twilight Zone and other stuff. It's basically just discussions of TV shows, by the way. I don't think I've actually said that. So yeah, those are all of the books that I've hauled at the moment. Let me know if you've read any of these, or if you think I should stop buying non-fiction books when I'm not reading any of them, because I think I should. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, it helps me out massively, and I hope to see you next time.